One of the things that I have really enjoyed doing as a priest is visiting our homebound parishioners and traveling all around wherever my assignment has been to visit the people of our parishes that could no longer get to church. And there's probably a whole list of the different people that have really impacted my life or really have changed my life. And I was telling the men here the other day about one woman who really had a neat story, and she really taught me a lot. Her name was Mickey. And Mickey was such a beautiful soul, and I remember the first time going to visit her, she was sitting at the kitchen table, and she had her kitchen window up, and she was sitting there with a BB gun, and she was looking to shoot squirrels that were at her bird feeder. And her first question was to me, Father, if I shoot the neighbor's cat, is that a sin? And I told her, absolutely, don't hurt the neighbor's cat. Don't hurt the neighbor's cat at all. And Mickey had a great sense of humor, but she was such a beautiful woman that just really saw God in unique ways. And one day we were talking, and I said about seeing God's miracles. And she said one way that she felt that you could still see God's miracles every day was there was two ways that still were so pure with God's miracles. The number one way was the stars. She said every night whenever she looked out at the stars, she thought of the miracles of God. And the second way, she said, was to look in the eyes of a child. To look in the eyes of a child, that you could see God's miracles. As we gather here today, I think Mickey was so right, and the gospel today that Father Ken proclaimed for us talks about the scribes and the Pharisees, and they're asking Jesus for a sign. They want to see something that will speak so loudly to them. And I think as Jesus answers them, he answers all of us, and he answers us through the simple words of Mickey. That we can see God's miracles every day around us, but we just have to look. A great joy is asking the kids in our faith formation programs questions, and you never know what will come out of the mouth of a child, and I've often asked them that same question about miracles. And I can remember little Michaela answering one a day. Michaela said that she thought that God's miracles were everywhere, every day. God's miracles are everywhere, every day. My dear family, as we gather here today as a family, what has blocked our eyes from being like a child's eyes to see God's miracles? What's blocking them from seeing God's hand at work in our daily life? Today, as we celebrate the memorial of St. Apollinaris, he was able to do that, and people saw God's miracles working through him, through his teaching, and ultimately through the way he gave his life, through his martyrdom. Alec read the beautiful reading today from the prophet Micah, and the prophet Micah says that famous line that we're all told, "You have been told, O man, what is good and what the Lord requires of you, only to do the right and to love goodness and to walk humbly with your God." My dear family, as we gather here today, I still go back to that first encounter with Mickey, sitting there with her BB gun and asking that simple question about, what she could shoot with that gun and what she shouldn't shoot. And she truly wanted to do the right. She wanted to love goodness, and she wanted to walk humbly with God. And she was doing that because she recognized that she could see God's miracles, God's hand at work in the stars and in the eyes of little children. Today, as we gather here as a family, as we go throughout this day, let's ask our loving God, who loves each of us so much, let's ask him to remove anything that has blocked our eyes from being like the eyes of a little child, truly seeing his love and his mercy at action in our daily lives.